We discussed how to read the food label with respect to nutritional values. Now, let's talk about the ingredients section at the bottom of the food label. There are some key things to know about the ingredients section that we'll first discuss, and then we'll do an example. Ingredients are listed in order of quantity, from the ingredient that is present in the highest quantity to that present in the lowest quantity. For example, if a bottle of salsa lists tomatoes first, jalapenos next, and onions third, that means that there are more tomatoes in the product than anything else, and that there are more jalapenos than onions. It gets a little trickier with sodium, added sugars, and trans fats though, because these ingredients can go by several names. So be aware of them and be on the lookout. You might see sugar listed as the fifth ingredient in a product and think that there's barely any of it present. But sugar can also be listed as high fructose corn syrup, or just corn syrup, agave nectar, barley malt syrup, or dehydrated cane juice, just to name a few. Sodium, or salt, also has multiple names, which many people may not know. Aside from salt, it can be called sodium benzoate, disodium, monosodium glutamate, which is MSG, or sodium nitrite. Lastly, trans fat is another tricky one. Rather than just having the name trans fat, the ingredients section will show ingredients that contain trans fat. Examples of these are partially hydrogenated oil and hydrogenated oil. Now that you know more about how ingredients are listed, let's do an example. Let's compare our old plain Quaker oatmeal to a cereal called Cocoa Roos. As you can see, the oatmeal's main ingredients are whole grain, oats, and barley, all very healthy foods. There is no sugar listed, and salt is the last ingredient, meaning it is the least in quantity. Reading the ingredients of this oatmeal seems to indicate that this would make quite a healthy breakfast. Now let's look at the cereal. Among the top ingredients, we see that sugar is listed first. We also notice that there is corn syrup, which, as we discussed before, is just another name for sugar. We also see oil and starch, which is a carbohydrate. Furthermore, there are additives, such as coloring agents and artificial flavors. We can see that in comparison to the oatmeal, this Pop-Tart definitely is not as healthy. And we determined this just by looking at the ingredients section. Now that you know how to understand the ingredients section, you are well equipped to tackle any food label that comes your way. You never again have to eat anything blindly, as you can now analyze the food label to find out just how healthy a certain food item really is, and then make your decision wisely.